wait, give it a second. There we go. Inequalities in one triangle. So this will have to do with some exterior angles and interior angles within that triangle and seeing which is larger, which is smaller. All right, so we're going to look at this exterior angle theorem. Okay, that before we did go over this in chapter 4, that exterior angle theorem says that you can add together your two remote interiors and it will give you your exterior angle. Okay, so that is what we did in chapter 4. So that measure of angle 1 is your exterior, and I can add together the measure of angle 2 and angle 3 to get angle 1. Okay, that's your exterior angle theorem. So it follows that the measure of angle 1, okay, that exterior, has to be greater than the measure of angle 2. And the measure of angle 1 has to be greater than the measure of angle 3 by itself. Since you're adding these two together to get that one, they must both be smaller than that exterior. Does that kind of make sense? Okay, so they have to be smaller since you're adding them together to get that angle. Now, it might not be much smaller. You could say angle 2 is 89 degrees and angle 3 is 1 degree, right? But then angle 1 would be 90. Okay, but angle 2 is still 89, which is less than 90, and angle 3 is 1, so that's also less than 90. Okay, so therefore, by the exterior angle inequality, the measure of an exterior angle is greater than the measure of either remote interior angle. Okay, and that's what we were saying up here. So that exterior one has to be greater than your remote interiors. So, example of this. Number 1, we want to list all the angles in this triangle EFG with measures that are less than angle 1. Okay, so which two are my remote interior angles? 3 and 4. Okay, so those two are your remote interiors, so they must be less than that exterior. So I would say the measure of angle 4 and the measure of angle 3. I cannot say the measure of angle 2, okay, because it's not a remote interior. Okay, it's the one right next to it. Okay, then we're going to look at number 2. This should say 2 to 4, not 3 to 8. Okay, so in number 2, we want to find the angles that their measures are less than angle 1. So if I'm looking at angle 1, I want to consider angle 1 an exterior angle of a triangle to see which ones are less. Okay, so if this one's an exterior, I'm going to look at this triangle WUB. Okay, now which of these 3 angles would be your remote interior? 5 and 6. Okay, so the ones that are less would be the measure of angle 5, the measure of angle 6. Okay, I can't conclude anything about 2, 3, or 7. Okay, just given that 1 is that exterior. Okay, you don't know what it is. Just because what the picture looks like doesn't mean that it's going to be, those two are going to be less than it. Okay, so they could be greater. Number 3, we're looking for the measures that are greater than angle 1. So now I'm going to take angle 1 and place it as a remote interior angle and find an exterior that would be greater than it. Okay, so if 1 is a remote interior, okay, I'm going to look at this triangle TWU, then which angle would be the exterior? 7. Okay, so the measure of angle 7 would be greater than the measure of angle 1. And that's the only one that I would consider greater. Okay. Number 4, we're looking for the measures that are less than angle 7. So now again, I want to look at 7 as an exterior angle, and I want to look for the remote interior angles. Okay, so before I look at the whole triangle, if I look at triangle TWU, which two are my remote interiors? 3 and 1. So those ones would have to be less than 7. Okay, now I also could look at this entire triangle TUV. Which angles would be my remote interiors to 7? Okay, so I have 5 and 6. So this whole angle U here would have to be less than angle 7, and that includes 5. So yes, 5 would be considered an angle less than 7, and 6. Okay, I can't conclude anything about 4. Okay, you can't conclude anything about angle 4 because it's not considered a remote interior. All right, I want you guys to try number 5 and number 6. You're using this triangle here. Okay, in number 5, you should have 4 angles that are less than 7. And in number 6, you should have 2 angles that are greater than 6. Okay, so I want you to try and find those angles. You did a good job.
They were waiting for us because we were supposed to have a moon sign for 5 minutes, and then they said that was too long. So then his post and went through it. I put it back.
Math?
What?
2 angles for number 6.
Why do you have your hair? Show me your bald spots. Did you just say your hair's
I am crabbing.
should have slept on you. Or maybe we should have slept until.
Hey, don't instigate it. She's crabby. Just leave her alone.
Yeah, I think
Don't make her more crabby. All right, so I'm gonna go through these ones. So number 5, you want angles that are less than 7. So you need to consider 7 as your exterior angle, and you need to look for remote interior angles. Okay, so 7's out here. Okay, so if I look at triangle MKL, okay, 4 and 5 would be considered your remote interiors. Okay, I could add those two together to get 7. So they must be less than angle 7. Okay, so next, I'm going to look at this entire triangle here, LJK. Okay, and this angle J and this angle K would be my remote interior angles. So since I would add those two together, angle 1 would be less than angle 7. and angle 2 since I already have angle 4 written down. Okay, so that one wasn't so bad. Number 6, you may have just forgotten one. Okay, you may have found one of them, but you may have forgotten the other. So, in number 6, we want to name the angles that are greater than angle 6. So we need to consider angle 6 as a remote interior angle. Okay, so let me see here. If I look at 6 here, okay, and I look at my entire triangle, JKL, I have this exterior over here for 8, and 6 and 1 together, okay, 6 and 1 together would create that exterior angle since they're both remote interiors. Okay, so angle 8 would be greater than angle 6. Okay, so if you didn't find that one, look again. Okay, I'm looking at this entire triangle LJK. Okay, we're going to forget about this middle section here. Okay, I have 6 and 1 add together to be 8. So it must be less than angle 8. Now if I look at this triangle MKL, right, 6 has to be an remote interior angle. Well, I noticed that this line keeps going here, so I could consider 3 an exterior angle to that smaller triangle. Okay, then 6 and 4 together would add to be 3. Okay, so the measure of angle 3 would have to be greater than the measure of angle 6. Okay, you cannot say angle 7. I know it looks like it's greater. Okay, but you're not given the angle measures, so you can't conclude that just given this theorem. Okay, so you have to use those remote interiors and those exterior angles in order to find this. Any questions? All right, I promise the back is way easier than this. I'm very sure. All right, so next we're going to look at the angle-side relationships of our angles and sides of a triangle. Okay, so quiet. When the sides of a triangle are not congruent, okay, there's a relationship between the sides and the angles of those triangles. So the longest side is going to be opposite the largest angle. Please, stop talking. Hey. Okay, longest side is opposite the largest angle, and the shortest side is opposite the smallest angle. Okay, so in our first example of this, we want to list the angles in order from smallest to largest. So I want to look for the smallest side in my triangle. That would be 6 centimeters. So the angle opposite that would be your smallest angle. So we would say angle T. Okay, our next shortest side or our middle side would be 7 centimeters. So our angle opposite that side would be R. That's our next smallest. Okay, and then our last side, our largest side is 9 centimeters. So the angle opposite that would be angle S. Okay, so again, we're just taking the opposite, opposite, opposite.
I do that before you did.
I smudged my pen. All right, in the next one, we're going to now list the sides, okay, from shortest to longest. So I want to find my smallest angle. That's angle A. The side opposite that angle is our shortest side. So that would be side CB. Our next smallest angle is angle C here. Side opposite that is AB. And then our largest angle to its opposite side is AC.
So dumb.
This is a lot.
That was the
I
whitest
know.
joke I've ever
Told you.
heard.
All right. So, just wait. I want to do number 2, and then I'm going to make you do 1 and 3. Okay, so number 2, we want to list our angles in order from smallest to largest and our sides from smallest to largest. I only have 2 angle measures here. Thank you. Okay, you need to subtract those 2 from 180 to get that third one. Okay, so 180 minus 60 minus 54, what is that? I didn't write it down. It is Friday.
66.
Definitely said that was yours.
Hmm?
Whose birthday?
Yours or mine?
You did it.
Yeah, I know. All right, so now I can list the angles from smallest to largest. So my smallest angle here is angle T. Next smallest is angle S. And then last is angle R. Okay, next my sides. So I need to go opposite my smallest angle. That's RS. Okay, next I have this 60 degrees. Opposite that is RT.
Great.
And then my largest angle is 66 degrees. Opposite that is ST. That's fine. Okay, I want you guys to do 1 and 3. Okay, list all of your angles, smallest to largest, your sides, smallest to largest.
56 plus 60.
I don't know.
114.
Yeah, that's right. 180 minus 114, 66.
I want Thanksgiving.
Do these 2 problems. What? No. No.
It's snowing outside now.
No.
That doesn't mean it's Christmas.
I only listen to Christmas music on Christmas, and it's only for like an hour, and then I'm done. I don't like Christmas music. Huh? I don't know. You probably won't like the music I play.
Justin Bieber.
What? Yeah, but I don't know my sensors off, and then that would be bad if it just starts swearing as somebody walks by, and then it's just not cool.
It's Friday. He don't care. He just wants to leave too, just like the rest of us.
Why is the hypotenuse?
I can't wait
always
for
on
Thanksgiving
the
next week.
Because that's what.
All right, so
Wait, I'm not done.
okay,
I have one more.
okay. Can I start going through 1?
No.
Yes.
I have to be done with all 3 others. I can't focus.
Okay, go.
No, that's wrong.
Come on.
I did this all wrong.
How do you do it all wrong? If you actually got these wrong, I might slap you across the face.
That was violent.
No, I got it wrong.
I mean, it could have been way worse.
Are you done now? All right, so your angles in order from smallest to largest. You should have angle T. That was a bad angle. Angle R. Angle S. Your sides. RS. TS. And TR or RT. Number 3, angle Y should be 66. Okay, then your angles in order should be angle X, angle Z,
Angle Y.
and angle Y. Then your sides are ZY,
Is it okay if I had
I
Y?
know you.
yes, XY, and XZ.
Alright, I got that one right, but this one,
Does it matter
this
what
one,
order
let
they're
me tell you.
Your 2 letters for your sides? No. So if instead you said YZ instead of ZY, that's fine.
You mean like
All right, so hey,
Alright, just write it out first.
so last one is a writing question.
Yeah.
So you don't have to write it down, but I want you to talk to somebody next to you about it. So why is the hypotenuse always the longest side of a triangle? Okay, think about what we just did on the back here.
opposite of the largest angle. Yeah, that's what
Which is an obtuse angle.
which is a big angle. Which is an angle bigger than. Wait, would be. Yeah, no, you couldn't even see his face, so at some point I'm like watching.
All right, shh, quiet please, so I can give you your homework.
We have homework.
Yeah, you have
Uh,
a lot of time left. So
I the
for your answer, okay, so
She writes so fast. I'll still be writing like.
It was frozen. It was frozen.
wasn't frozen. So
let go.
all right, shh. Since the hypotenuse is across from the right angle, right? Hypotenuse across from a right angle, and both of your other angles in your right triangle have to be acute. Okay, they can't be obtuse because then it wouldn't make a triangle. Okay, the hypotenuse will always be the longest side and is always opposite that largest angle in your triangle.
Got it.